Welcome back to another Supercoach video. My name is Jackson and you are joining me for the round 13 review. We are well and truly into the buys and it was a down week for me compared to last week, so failed to hit 1900 in the end, which did drop me back a bit over 100 spots, still sitting inside the top 1000, which is okay. I'm in an alright spot for next round, but I mean everyone knows this is pain, what we're about to look at here. And I must say, this week well and truly rewarded those that went heavy on the buy planning. Those that had Titch, Jelly, Took Miller, Stewart, Hawkins. There were just so many options from that first buy round that absolutely blitzed it. And if you're riding those, you've done really well. I mean, I think Cam Guthrie is obviously the unfortunate one, and Whitfield, who was a popular trading option, one that I've been spruiking big time, weren't particularly good, but almost every other player from the first round buys, including the rookies like Jai Newcomb, were fire. So if you had been buy planning, and I know there a few of you had been doing it very well, you absolutely rocketed up the ranks this week. But and it actually should put you in pretty good stead for this week too, because most people are going to be fielding 15, I reckon, 15 or 16. It's going to be a tough week. But let's jump into the review. We'll then talk about trades, target options, captain, vice captain, and move on. It should be a pretty quick one with buys, but I seem to still ramble for half an hour. So let's have a go. All right, rolling through the back with the blue ticks moving. This has confused me. Let's start with Highmore. What a gun. 111. Let's go. I mean, we knew that he could score well. He'd put together a 66 average off the first two games when he was playing that loose floating half-back role, and to see him string it together, I mean, no one expected 111 if you were holding him, but it was very well received in a tough round for me. And what was interesting was he was actually clunking those marks even in like wet, dewy conditions as well. So hopefully they will keep playing him there going forward. His break-even, I think, is at -3 now. So if you're one of the people that can hold him this week, he's going to make a ton of money to help with those last upgrades. Murphy, corked thigh, that's his second injury. His cash generation's dead. His scoring is dead. Maybe if I can trade him, I get rid of him. But for what? I mean, even though it's 102k rookie, it's only 85k. That's rough. I think this is just going to be a D8 for the year, Murphy. Who did we have playing on field? This is confusing. Everyone but Ridley. Okay, so Lloyd was okay. Thought he could have gone bigger. Stewart was amazing. Yeah, really good game from Stewart on debut, the 130, which was then counted out by Lockie Whitfield. And this game, by the way, so we, my wife and I have just bought a house, doing some housework on the weekend, ripping up floors, and listening to this game, I couldn't watch it. And I just kept hearing Josh Kelly, Kelly. I had to turn it off. I couldn't even listen to it after half time. I can't believe how badly Josh Kelly's burnt me this year. And I knew it was against North. I knew it was going to be probably one of his big games for the year. But to hear Kelly, I reckon it must have been 30 times in the first half. And Whitfield barely mentioned, it hurt. It absolutely hurt. So Whitfield's still definitely a long-term pick for the rest of the year. I think he will bounce back after at 74. Short had one of his really good games of the year. You know, a lot of short games he starts strong and then fades out, but he actually managed to play out the whole game, which was really good. Ridley obviously on bye, and then Jones disappointing 43. Actually looked pretty good. I thought it was one of those almost games where he had a lot of times where he hit a contest pretty hard and the ball just went out of his fingertips. You know, it's one of those things where a couple of things go his way, ball bounces the right way, ends up on a 60 plus. So a bit disappointing. And I guess yeah. Anyway, that's okay. He's also hurt his cash, and I think his break-even's about 20. So really, he's someone that could go another week, and then you could downgrade him to Edwards from West Coast after next week. In the midfield, so Oliver and Gawn, where I talk about them at the same time with this game. For a lot of people, the VC on Steel 126 wasn't attractive enough. Thought against Collingwood, there was a really big game coming here for these two, and you could see the somewhat likely situation that Collingwood plays for their coach last game. They have a real bounce back, and you know they string together a good effort, and sure enough they did. So these big scores we were hoping for just didn't really come to fruition. And to be honest, I mean, most of Melbourne looked pretty average in the first half, but I think Oliver and Gawn were typical of that. I mean, Gawn got out-rucked by Lynch pretty badly. was actually quite surprising. It wasn't until kind of the end of the second quarter he started clunking those marks, and obviously the goal helped. Oliver, a bit the same. He was really low on clearances, contested possessions in that first half. Once again, just a goal kind of saving his score in the first half before picking up a little bit in the second. And obviously having a close game helped with scaling them kind of score back points. But yeah, just a really disappointing game from these two. Hopefully the bye helps Melbourne reset and we get some more good scores from those. Steele was immense, but that is a super frustrating 126 because he had 6 free kicks against, and a lot of them came in the second half when they were choking. They were just choking so hard, and Steele himself wasn't choking, still trying as hard as ever, but in those wet, dewy conditions, just like a lot of careless stuff where his tackles were slipping high. And so that could have easily been a 150, 160, and instead a somewhat, and it feels weird to say, a somewhat disappointing 126. I mean, since I've got him, he's gone, 154, 140, and just 126, sour taste in the mouth, which is weird for someone that's probably got a 3-game average of 140 in my team. Laird was immense in leading that comeback and kind of snuck up. You check the scores at the end of the game, you're like 132. Where'd that come from? But hey, well deserved. Brayshaw, the 92 was really disappointing, especially in a game where he wasn't tagged. I think it was the second quarter where he'd done enough to be on track for like a 70-80 at halftime, but he had 4 or 5 kicks in a row that were just turnovers, and bad turnovers. It wasn't long to a contest, it was clanger kicks, and that just kills your score. So the rest of Brayshaw's game was really good, and I wouldn't be surprised that 92 came from 3 quarters, and that second quarter was, I'm pretty sure that second quarter was -7 or 8 by itself. So if instead he had like a 25-point quarter, that scores a 120. So yeah, I mean, Steele and Brayshaw were both really frustrating, like just what could have been games. Poulter was great. Unfortunately, you're going to have to trade him. Like, he's one of those people you'd love to have as a mid-forward keeper for the rest of the year to kind of flip between those spots, play a bit of cover. He looks great, and actually probably one of my favourite Pies to watch at the moment. There's actually a couple of good youngsters coming through in the Pies, which is a weird thing to say. But yeah, he's going to have to go, which is disappointing. Bianco had a down game, just the 23. Somewhat expected with rookies, and when he's been put now more into like a half forward role from memory. Maybe that wasn't the case in the weekend. Didn't get to watch all the game, but that's where I noticed him popping up a bit, and it's just hard to consistently score there. Newcomb set the tackling rookie record, so this is very blessed to trade in someone sight unseen, been on the list 5 or 6 days, and get a 75 from them. But look, we'll take it. Some of those things just need to fall right for you. Highmore and Newcomb really saved my round this week, but to be honest, a lot of people did have both of them, so it wasn't that big of a deal. He looked really good. Obviously, you'd like to see him find more of the pill, but that tackling intensity in a team that's not doing particularly well should keep him in good stead, I think, going forward. In the ruck, so yeah, we mentioned Gorn, 123. Serviceable as a captain option there, only lost 3 points there, but a ways off Josh Kelly's 147, so 24-point loss there, which it's not the end of the world, but a little bit disappointing, especially given that against Lynch, you would have thought this is a 150 game for Gorn. Callum Campbell-Jones has absolutely been amazing. So his 81 follows his 86 and a 112. Can you believe it? So average 3-round average 93. He's going to keep going up in price if you can hold him. You'll notice I didn't have Reeves. Obviously, I had the trades to do the Reeves reverse, which I did demonstrate in the channel. So next time you have laid out like that, you can hopefully reverse a change. But I know a lot of people are stuck with Reeves now in here. Interestingly, I think Reeves coming in this week helps me in my buy planning, but yeah, currently I've got 3 ducks. I thought the right option was trading Grundy to either Zach Smith or Goldstein, and I didn't have enough time to think about it, plan out whether or not I'm giving the right money. And after seeing my score this week and having a look at my who's on the field this week, I'm pretty sure I should have gone to Goldstein. I know there's a little bit of hindsight in that, seeing that Goldstein scored well, and I probably wouldn't be saying this if he'd scored like 80. But he had a 126, which is big. I know he lost a little bit of money, but I think he had, a 60 somewhere? 67 that's now rolled out of his average. So he should go back up in price, make some money over the next couple of weeks. Probably would have netted me 150 to 200 points. Yeah, bit disappointing I didn't do that. I know other people have, and it's really paid off. I didn't like the Nick Nat or Darcy move just because you don't have him in the round that you need him, which is round 14. But those two have they've gone huge. So it probably doesn't even matter that you're going to cop a 0. They're what they've made off 2 games is equivalent of what other rucks will make in 3. So whatever. In the forward line, Aaron Hall, it's got to be the best pick of the year for sure for many people. But yeah, it was big on him. 141. He just keeps going, and this is despite getting tagged at the start. Like, these scores are just crazy. We'll just keep writing out as long as we can. I'm very conscious of the fact that between Hall and Zeeble and some of these other types, there is injury risk in the team. Whitfield, another example. So I do want to have spare trades, but I'm going to keep taking these scores where I can get him up to 530k, and he'll keep going up in price too. Zeeble was good but not great, and this is what we've been saying for a few weeks, that with Hall coming in, just think that the ceiling for Zeeble is just not really there anymore. Didn't help that he didn't have his best game anyway. Like, he had some just some clangers, some bad turnovers, some missed intercepts, but yeah, 91's a really good floor, so you take that. We'll get back to Impy in a second, and then Dusty Martin over here with the 110. So it was good to see Dusty hitting a big score. I've had him for 3 weeks now, and I had a couple of dud scores in there. So the 110 was nice, but this is another missed opportunity. This could have been a 130, 140 for Dusty. I felt just had a lot of chances in that last quarter to win the game, either by kicking a goal himself or by nailing some of those inside 50 entries that ended up just being to a 50-50 or a turnover. So 110 was all right, but I mean, what could have been? What could have been? And then Impy's last one, 51, is definitely a topic right there. So something I think I flagged on the Supercoach Take podcast last week, and I think others might have been talking about it for a couple of weeks now, but Impy might not be a keeper, especially with Will Day back, and just did not look good on the weekend at all. The role just seems to be evaporating before our eyes. Clarko's willing to try weird things with him, so I think Impy is someone that we have to get out of. But who and when is a little bit tricky, because obviously with many teams not having enough this week, you kind of don't want to get rid of someone that is playing and going to give you those points, even if they're going to drop another 20, 30k. And given Essendon's their opponent, there are usually some good points on offer against Essendon. So yeah, bit tricky. So let's line up the team for this week. So the defense looks right. This is going to be painful. I'll get Steele off because with the VC hides the blue dot. It's really confusing. So I keep counting that I've got more than what I actually do because the VC's covering it up. See? Look, cheeky. Just give it to the dogs for now. All right. And then forward line looks good. So I currently have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that's assuming that Waterman plays. This is not a great spot to be in. I have a feeling that my team is not too much heavier on this buy round than others. So I think Gone, CCJ, Grundy are all very common, although I know Grundy has been traded out by a lot. Oliver, Steele, Laird, Poulter, Lloyd, Short. These are all really popular picks. Dusty's a really popular pick too. And I don't have May, for example. I don't have Petrarca. So I've got some things going for me here. I have a feeling 16 is going to be about average. Anyone that's got 18 is going to absolutely skyrocket. Anyone that's below 15, I think you're really going to struggle. So trades for this week. Just looking at my team, I have I've got a full defense now. So Laird's in the midfield, but I've got 5 premiums here, then Laird. In the mids, I've got Bont McRae, Merritt, Walsh, Oliver, Steele, Brayshaw. So I'm missing one, and ideally you'd probably upgrade or get out of Brayshaw. In the defense, ideally I'd probably get out of Short or Ridley, but I probably can't. And then in the forward line, I've got Hall, Dale, Zeeble, Impy, Martin. So I've got one midfielder and one forward to get, and you probably want to get out of Impy as well, because I think these scores are going to go backwards real quick. So 1 premium, 2 premium, and upgrade. That's probably 6 to 7 trades, leaving me between 3 and 2 left. So this week, I think the obvious trade for me is to get rid of Poulter, get in Langford. Langford, this is a little bit of a gamble on his role continuing in that midfield, but we can bring up his points here. You can see that 126, 125, 101, last 3, playing that more inside role. The risk with this is there's a couple of things going on here. So firstly, why did the midfield role come about and him playing more at centre bounce attendances? It was because Stringer went down primarily, and they needed that additional big body to run through the midfield and give relief to Merritt, Parrish, and McGrath. Oh, and McGrath's injury, obviously, that now contributes to, I guess, some security in the role. So I guess like part of the risk is that he went in because Stringer went out. Stringer's back, and as he builds fitness, they might look to inject him back through the midfield. Similarly, they've talked obviously a lot about Waterman, which I don't know, feels like a bit of a meme at this point. I don't know if Rutten's ever actually going to do it, but Waterman has the ability to go through the mid. So they do have these other mid-forward type options, which also is kind of where Langford can play at times, that could potentially rotate through there. But it hasn't happened yet. So yeah, I don't know. That's the risk that he loses his role to them. But with McGrath going down, we're lacking a midfielder. So even when Shield does come back, which is still ages off, I think there's probably a pretty good role for Langford. Now, can Merritt, Langford, and Parrish all average like 110 plus? Don't think so. But really, what we're looking for from Langford at that price is somewhere between a 95 and a 105. You'd be pretty happy with that. So yeah, that's the goal. Obviously, he sits in the midfield this week because I've got enough forwards, but he would eventually move into the forward line, and then the plan would be to get rid of... so here's my F6 at the moment, and then finally we'd upgrade Impey to Dangerfield would be the plan. So obviously Impey's going to lose some money, but Dangerfield should lose more money faster given he's got a ridiculously high break even again. So that's trade 1. That now gets me to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Welcome to the counting channel. 16. So 16's okay. And then I do have options from here, which I'm really unsure about this week. So ideally, if someone like Reeves comes in, I can move Coleman Jones to the forward line. Get rid of someone like a Highmore or a Murphy, get Laird back. And that would be one. And if like Callow came in, that could be another one. So if I wanted to be really aggressive, I'd probably do something like this. Getting rid of Brayshaw. Let's just do Highmore for money, but I'd probably rather keep him and get rid of Murphy. So Neil is someone that you could wait a week on. He didn't have the best return game, but has a 160-ish break even. But they're against North this week. Obviously just gave up big scores to Josh Kelly, so he could get reasonably close to that, and you just want the points on field. So what do I need to do? I need to trade a mid in. So I could go Dusty in the midfield, Coleman Jones. I can get someone like Reeves in. So this is like pretty aggressive. It gets me, well, assuming Reeves' name, it gets me 2 more for 2 out. And so I think that gets me to 18, all right? So 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18. So yeah, I could get to 18 reasonably by doing that. The issue with this is I still need 1 more midfielder. And still need to get out of Impey. So in 3 trades, could I do that? I don't think so. This puts me really short on trades. Even on 4 trades, that's a little bit dicey. Because you've got two downgrades, 1 upgrade, and then like a sideways. But an expensive sideways, it's like 150. So I'm not sure this is like particularly good move. Let's reverse these changes. If I wanted to be aggressive, what else could I do? The other option is I could get rid of Impey this week, which seems a little bit weird because he's playing. But let's just do this. So we'll get Reeves back in. We want to get Poulter out. length it in. Still want to get Neil in, I think, so I've got to find a way to do that. Get rid of Highmore, Laird down back, Neil, and then I need to get Hello in somehow. So I could get rid of Colton Jones early, which I don't feel particularly good about either, because he's got a lot of money left to make and he's going to be a good cover. So I could do something really aggressive like this as well. That's 4. Get them back on. Steal off that tricky steal. So that's 7, 8, 12, and then still 18. How did I? No, it's because I tried an impy. So I could do something like this, which, like, once again, it's really, really aggressive. Leaves me with 5 trades, but my midfield's done, and then all I have to do is do one last upgrade to danger. Now, I'm not sure I can do that with these trades left, but that's another option as well. So I think regardless of how I trade this week, I'm going to line up with somewhere between 16 and 18. I'm not really sure if I want to trade aggressively to get the 2 extra scores on field, but then struggle to finish my team, or if I'm happy to take a lower score this week, slide back in the ranks a bit more, but then have enough spare trades and money to get danger and Neil later on. So that's my team. That's the decisions I'm weighing up. Let me know how many you're going to be playing this round, what trades you're making, and whether or not you can spot a better line for me to play. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.